Joe, do you want to read through this one?
Yeah.
Give my voice box a little bit of a break.
Yeah, no, please. And I gotta say, for the Chainfighter, I always thought that was a C3V unit. Every time anyone ever talked about it, I always thought it was a C. I thought it was always a custom. I did not know this character existed realistically. But yeah, so we got the Drow Chainfighter. He's an Utgar common hero. He's a guard. He's wild and a medium 4. And as a common hero, he has only 1 life. Move is 6, range 1, attack 4, defense 4, a whopping 25 points. And he's got 2 abilities. He's got Chain Grab. After moving and before attacking with a Drow Chainfighter, you may choose an opponent's small or medium figure within 3 clear sight spaces, whose base is no more than 6 levels above that Drow Chainfighter's height, or 6 levels below that Chainfighter's base. Roll the 20-sided die. If you roll a 9 or higher, place the chosen figure on an empty same level space adjacent to that Drow Chainfighter. If the chosen figure is engaged when it is moved by Chain Grab, it will not take any leave engagement attacks. And of course, Hide in Darkness. And I'll just reread that for anyone. Repetition does help. Repetition is helpful.
Well, this will be its own segment anyway, so that's fine.
Yeah, true. Hide in Darkness. If a Drow Chainfighter is attacked with a normal attack and at least 1 skull is rolled, roll the 20-sided die. If the Drow Chainfighter is on a dungeon space, add 3 to your die roll. If he is on a shadow space, add 6 to your die roll. If you roll 1 through 15, roll the defense die normally. If you roll 16 or higher, ignore all damage that would be inflicted by the attack. So, Chain Grab, is that almost word for word?
It's similar
for the Nanotech Wraith Riders?
It's similar to the Wraith Riders. And this was going to be my first point too. I played the Wraith Riders earlier this year, and I had a ball with their like quote unquote chain grab ability. If used right, it can be really fun and really effective. So it really gives value. Although, I mean, and now Drow Chainfighter can't move as quickly as the Wraith Riders can. But at 25 points, and I had to really read that, 25 points for the Drow Chainfighter, that isn't bad. I mean, yes, it's got 1 life, but 4 defense, pretty solid defense. And I saw the wild ability. I wanted to see something with the wild ability, actually. And again, like kind of like B tier. Wild ability, and actually can be Royal Escort with Crypt Guardian. So you can actually put these with a Crypt Guardian army, which is...
Ooh, okay.
That's something to consider, because I have kind of a love for Crypt Guardians. A little bit of synergy with Warden, Peloth, Otanashi.
Yep, he is a guard.
Yep, he's a guard. I thought... the wild would be something, but
more prolific.
But nothing connected with it really for the wild ability. Maybe because it's a small figure. I thought for sure there were other synergies that had the wild, but might be with like a unique hero or a bigger hero.
But even so, I feel like that. I do hope that Renegade goes through all of Class Escape and just sees like what was something that they haven't expanded on. You know, like, 'cause I feel like that I might have mentioned it multiple times. I do feel like I repeat myself quite often with some ideas, but for those attributes on the left hand side of the card, like some of those things just are not inflicted as much, and there's some personalities and there's some what do they call what's guard? Not profession, but like, I know there's a name for it. You know, like some of those attributes like are just not touched on anywhere in special powers, that help any synergies. There's just some of them that just are not utilized as much as others. So I do hope Renegade looks at that and goes, oh, we should do something for Wild. Oh, we should do something for
Wasn't there some controversy like middle of the year with Renegade and the chain grab ability? If I recall, was there something like when they were talking about like when they were putting for competitive rules for Renegade games? I thought I heard something based on that. I'm trying to remember specifics.
I mean, look, I can go back and look at that Armada. What do they call it? An Armada? I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. There's a list of things. I think right before Gen Con, they had put out a thing.
Yeah, like a rule competitive rule.
Yeah, like a rule clarifications thing.
That they had to.
I don't remember anything with chain grab.
Okay.
That's no one enforced it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember anything with chain grab. I just remember the thing with the common cards, and I remember the thing about being able to have multiple certain things in your armies, or it was. I remember the stupid stuff. I remember like the dumb, holes that I think Chris Perkins found that were like, oh, let's have multiple squads of Amara warriors or something. It was like, the dumb things. Mm-hmm. But there could have been. But yeah, no, I actually read it. It is almost word for word chain grab for the Chainfighter and the Wraith Riders.
So it might actually
be 9. Not you do 9. So
it might be something fun to add to like the. I mean, if you're able to get the gun, Drow Chainfighter, I think it's also part of the. Is it part of the D&D Master Set too? Is it?
No, no, because I would have had him. I don't have him.
Okay, so it is or isn't part of the D&D Master Set?
It is not.
Okay, so it was
this
an expansion
one came
box.
in collection Champions of the Forgotten Realms, collection 11 D1.
That doesn't mean it's going to be any easier to get though.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
Even though I think I have again like one or two of these. At least I think one or two. But I might try them since it does have chain grab to use with an Eiseneks army with Wraith Riders. Yeah. I don't know. At 25 points, what are the Delta points for that too? It might just stay the same, or might even be more expensive because of chain grab. I don't know.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
20. They're 20 points.
20 points.
They went down 5.
Good grief. I don't know. I mean, maybe they lessen the points for these Drow just because it doesn't synergize with much. But at B, deciding B tier, these might be, yes, they're unused, but it doesn't mean you can't use them. There might be uses for these. I mean, I could be just totally spewing.
Anytime I've ever seen a unit go down in points like that, people start to notice and start using them. Like I would like to see, well, that's what happened to the what are the Jandor horses? What are those called?
The cavalry? You're talking about?
The cavalry. Yeah. Those went down in points, and then I think a bunch of people saw my one battle video when they were going up against the Morrow dogs horses. God, I can't think of those names. My brain is fried.
Wraith Riders? No, not Wraith Riders.
The Grok Riders.
Grok Riders. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was them against them, and people were like, "Dude, these guys are actually pretty good in numbers, especially on Delta. They're really cheap."
Not everybody wanted them.
And then ScapeCon East 1 came around, and it's Jonathan completely demolished almost like every single event using them.
A lot of business for Heroscape and Dice Bear Prince.
Yeah. People were like, oh, we need to get these pronto. So, I mean, it's very possible this could happen for the Deepworm Drow and the Drow Chainfighter. Very possible. A renaissance, maybe, So...
Oh, and here a guy saying the D&D figure equivalent is cheaper than the Heroscape figure, but still expensive. Yeah, and that's the financial cost. And what we're talking about is point cost for tournaments, though. But yes. again, like getting like original D&D miniatures from the D&D rather than Heroscape sometimes is better cost effective, but sometimes but it's still going to cost something, especially if you're looking for commons. And again, if you're playing the common squad way, you want to get at least like 4 or 5 of these guys, because there's strength in numbers when it comes to common squads. If you got like 1 or 2 common squads and want to play competitively with them, I would say, try it, but I wouldn't bother too much unless you have at least 4 of these. Find a way to make them work, unless of course you're like trying to balance out the points, because you might only be allowed like a 300 or 400 point army to where you're limited in what you can bring. But you should always, try and aim for that, to get as many commons as possible if that's how you want to play. And Hero Guy,
there is a bio,
I have to buy it to use in tournament. There. Oh yeah. Okay. Well, let's look in the bio.
There is a bio.
Oh, is there?
We got onto a tangent with the competitiveness of this unit.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Like I said, the point value, like to like Drow Chainfighters, and then the previous Drows that we talked about, 55. Like you could get a bunch of these miniatures on a battlefield for very low points, and just wreak havoc if you really wanted to. But anyway, let's see here. What is this saying?
Yeah, the bio isn't actually a bio though. It's just truth.
It's just information.
Saying what we're saying.
Yeah.
I'm reading through this. For our audio listeners, I'll read through it for you guys. It just says character bio, Truth's front page description. The Drow Chainfighter is a new common hero for Ukar. At 25 points, he may not look like much at first, but looks are deceiving. His chain grab ability is amazingly versatile. After moving and before attacking, you can roll a d20 for the chance to grab a small or medium figure and pull them adjacent to you. Add to that fact that he has hide in darkness like the Deepworm Drow before him, and you've gotten potent new low-cost common hero to populate your armies. So,
and here a guy saying I have to buy it to use in a tournament. One thing I might consider is that if I'd want to just try these out in a tournament setting and I want to get like at least 4 common squads, I can just take my 3D printer back here, just print out some very simple prints of them, and then just like paint over and just use them as the proxies. I've done that before with other squads as well. So that it, like I said, as long as you have like some original ones, just to show what they look like, you could have some proxies that don't have to look like specifically, as long as they're in the same shape, and where you can just throw them in there. For most tournaments, that is acceptable to use. They're usually pretty good about that.
Not I wouldn't say for like obviously the Renegade one.
No, the Renegade. No.
For the
we're not Renegade.
But for the the local tournaments that have been doing these for a while.
Right.
I assume that everybody has at least one in their area.
I'm just now interested in using Drow Chainfighter because, like I said, the synergy with the Crypt Guardians is kind of huge. It is kind of huge because I do. Those things are just tanks, tiny tanks, and with the chain grab, that would be interesting to use. And here guy says, for sure I've used other units as proxies for stuff I don't have. Exactly. You just got you got to figure out what will work with what for that, for sure. But
I have to interrupt for a second.
Yeah, go ahead,
Brian.
John.
You said Tiny Tank. Do you remember Tiny Tank?
Tiny Tank
Tiny Tank was a PlayStation 1 video game.
Really?
Yeah.
I might have seen it before. I remember my buddy
playing it. It's one of those games where it's like it's raunchy, but it's like it's about a tank that talks and he runs around and shoots everything.
We're talking about like Conker's Bad Fur Day or something to that.
Kinda, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I think it was more for like teenage age and not adults, but like,
gotcha.
But yeah, it was in that like level of like he'd like run around and like call people like names and things.
Oh, good grief.
Yeah. But I figured I had to mention that. If anyone remembers Tiny Tank, please let us know.
Pop culture reference right there.
Yeah.
Or tiny, like 90s. Is it 90s? 90s or early 2000s PlayStation?
99. August 99.
Okay, so still 90s. All right. That's funny. Well, that, I guess, is taking a look at Drow Chainfighter. Really, to be perfectly honest, just as a filler, they might be fun to have, especially since you got the Eiseneks. You can kind of like maybe
build a whole chain grab army.
Yeah, exactly. Chain grab army. Why not? Having one or two of these common heroes might make a difference in a game. So that is taking a look at Drow Chainfighters for consideration for your Heroscape collection.